California Honda dealers, Chris McGee, Derek Fisher, Big Game James Worthy, Mike Bresnahan. We got Ali and Trudell down at Crypto.com Arena. The Lakers lose. They fall to 2-7 on the year. And this is really the tale of two halves for me, guys. Here we are sitting right on that court at halftime talking about the most points scored in the first half of the year at 64. They shot 54%. And then you look in the second half. They only scored 36 points. That's a season low. And that decisive third quarter where the game got broken open, they only scored 16. They also were outscored by 20, Big Game James, which is a season high on that end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that these type of trends are starting to be a habit. Third quarter, not being able to score points in the second half. And so it's been trending like this. I mean, we experienced a little bit of this last year, but I was a little bit taken back in this game. I just thought that, you know, they put them on the line too much. The execution wasn't there. There was no ball movement. Players who I think should be involved, AD just not really in sync. And they seem to like go to sleep for a little bit and just allow Cleveland to do. They got to have a meeting of the minds to figure out how they're going to play and how they're going to, you know, disallow teams to come in here in the third quarter and do what they did. I'd like to hear from a coach's perspective, but it was just a little bit disappointing the way they're playing compared to the way they've been playing the first 3 or 4 or 5 games where the defense was good. They were trending in the right direction. To have this little setback the last couple games is a little bit disappointing.
Because halftime's not that long, right, Big Game?
Yeah.
And it comes out a different team, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, some of it is still like the inability to consistently score.
Yeah.
Right? Like 114 is not, you know, a big number in the NBA. Where almost regardless of any era, 114 is not 130, which was given up against the Jazz a couple nights ago. So kind of like stalling offensively is what also kind of leads to a negative 20 in the second half. You know, that's where the Lakers, you know, it kind of ends up regressing back to, you know, not enough consistent perimeter shooting, which makes the game easier. If you have Anthony Davis that is struggling to score in the second half, consistent perimeter shooting draws attention. It opens up more space for him. It opens up for easier offense. But the defense right now, it has to be the only thing that they know that they can rely on. And it has to be elite in order to have a chance to win and then hope that some shots go in at the right time.
Brez, before you jump in, here's a stat that's going to blow you guys away. Minus 20 in free throws. 32 free throws made for the Cavs.
That was 23 in the first half.
Yeah. 12 for the Lakers. Minus 20 in that department.
Yeah, I mean, the first half you talk about defending without fouling, which is, you know, that was one of our keys coming out. And maybe the aggression goes down, and then it just got easier for the Cavs to score coming out in that third quarter.
You know, the Laker offense obviously struggling. If you look at the big picture so far this season. But the last 3 games before today, there was hope that it had turned the corner. Scored 121 and 120 in beating Denver and New Orleans. The other day, against Utah, they lost. The defense failed them. But they put up 116 against a pretty good Utah team. First half tonight, more of the same. 64 points. Everyone's looking good. People in Lakerland are happy. And then that second half, guys, and you look at the game numbers now, they're under 30% for three-point shooting today. 57% from the free throw line. I mean, that you just can't have that and expect to win. You know, when you have disparities like you do at the three-point line and the free throw line, and your defense, like you said, D-Fish, you're putting a lot of pressure on your defense when your offense, James, just can't carry you night in and night out. I mean, like I said, it was a good week for the offense and a good first half today, but that second half, it just collapsed to some of the early season blunders.
And if you're over there on that Cleveland side, Big Game James, we saw our good friend Luke. He's now an assistant over there. JB Bickerstaff doing a great job leading that team. They have a lot of young talent, and they've put together
good team.
A great young team. Big Game, they are 8-1. They're young. They're fun to watch, and Mitchell and Garland were a problem. 57 points combined, Big Game James. And Donovan Mitchell, you had mentioned this at halftime. You know, going away from Utah, and both teams look good, right? Utah's having fun, and they're learning how to build, but Donovan is really becoming that guy in Cleveland. He dominated with 33.
He's a man. I mean, he and Garland, but he plays a game that involves everybody else. I mean, he's not just ISO Donovan, you know, a lot. They're still getting a lot from other players in the way they run their offense. But yeah, I mean, Mitchell's found a home. Without any major shot blocking, with AD not, if AD's pulled out on the perimeter to guard someone, there's no major shot blocking. So the guards, I mean, they felt, you know, pretty safe going in and getting layups after layup and then knocking down shots. So, yeah, I mean, that's an example of how the NBA is now with guard dominance.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the starting backcourt, not really fair maybe to Nunn and Walker, but it's 57-6.
Wow. How about that? You think the Lakers might have missed Pat Bev tonight out with that non-COVID illness? And by the way, that Cleveland starting five, average age 24.2 years old. They are young. They have arrived. They're going to be problems in the Eastern Conference for a while, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell, you know, in Utah, played next to Mike Conley for the last few years. Not a bad fit, right? They won a lot of regular season games. But one could argue 9 games into this season that he fits much better next to Darius Garland because he can be on and off the basketball, but Garland is a legit scoring threat with or without the ball as well.
Yeah.
So as a backcourt, they balance each other really effectively. And then the floor spacing and shooting with Kevin Love, with Osman, Dean Wade does a good job being a filler guy, Karis LeVert. I mean, they have a good team. And so we'll see. Off to a hot start. We'll see if they can sustain it.
Yeah, they got good defense, too, when you look at, the shot blockers and Mobley and Allen. And like Fish said, they're deep off the bench, too.
They are. And, and they play together. And the coach has, sold them on a style of play that's inclusive and involves everybody. You have Mitchell and Garland, but everybody's involved, unpredictable, and, they're off to a great start.
Yeah,
if they can sustain it.
Yeah, sorry, James. I feel like their Twin Towers really kind of asserted their dominance in that second half. AD had a really good first half, held to single digits, barely, in the second half. Really not much of an impact offensively. Those two guys really control the paint. We're talking about Mobley and Jared Allen, not just offensively, but defensively, too.
Yeah, and you'd mentioned, the loss of Pat Bev for tonight maybe could have helped defensively. Darvin mentioned last game the defense took a step back. Today it's the second half. It's the offense. Now you got to get on a plane and go to Utah and play tomorrow. I look at that third quarter, guys, and it just seems to be a theme in these losses. You come out of halftime, you're feeling good. They have 2 3-minute droughts, big game during that span. It ends on a 10-0 run, and they got outscored 29-16. Now you're behind. And like you mentioned, the style of play for the Lakers right now, it's tough to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to come back when, you go into halftime. And it's been a problem for a while, even going back to the last season. Third quarter, you would think they would solve that problem. But when you are expected to come out and play well, and then they come in and bounce on you, they're up by 7, then the whole mentality changes. Now you start forcing things. Now, you're trying to get quick shots, hit threes. You're not running your offense. Meanwhile, they're capitalizing on everything, hitting free throws, getting out on the fast break. And so, yeah, it's a problem for them.
So Phil, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I mean, I'm not sure how long Pat Bev will be out, but, Coach Darvin Ham went to Russell Westbrook pretty quick in that third quarter and did kind of stave off some of that momentum that the Cavs took. Look for him to possibly consider starting Russ in the third quarter, even if he doesn't start the game.
Yeah.
So that there's just more energy to start that third quarter. It's just it's lethargic, it's kind of heavy, and the other team kind of is wrestling whatever momentum that the Lakers may have. It's all coming out in the third quarter, and then they're fighting to try and squeeze out victory. So maybe look for that adjustment.
Yeah, and looking forward, I mean, we hope Pat Bev's okay. They're going to be leaving soon to Utah. Utah's actually